The Golden State Warriors haven't done the best job building a contender around Stephen Curry these last 5 years. I won't lie, the Jimmy Butler trade was huge, but that's the only big move they've made since signing Kevin Durant way back in 2016. So today I'm going to do everything in my power to win Stephen Curry his 5th championship, pulling off massive trades and bringing in new stars to Golden State to hopefully win Stephen Curry one last championship before he retires. And right off the bat, we're going to be pulling off a trade here with the Detroit Pistons where we send them Jonathan Kuminga in our 2027 first round pick in return for Jalen Duren, who's currently averaging 20 points per game, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting 67% from the field, and we also get Isaac Jones. So let's go ahead and pull off this trade where we acquire ourselves Jalen Duren. The next trade we're going to be pulling off is this trade here where we send the New Orleans Pelicans Brennan Pajemski and Buddy Hield in return for Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado. And with just those 2 trades we pulled off, our team is already looking better than it has in a very long time. The Golden State Warriors are my favorite team, so them not pulling off many trades for Curry, especially now that he's towards the end of his career, may only have a few seasons left, it's really disappointing. But as of right now, our starting lineup will be Stephen Curry, Herb Jones, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Jalen Duren. And then off the bench, we have Moses Moody, Al Horford, Will Richard, and Jose Alvarado. Let's go ahead and simulate the next few games and see how we do. And at the time of this recording, the Warriors are the number 8 seed with 10 wins and 9 losses, but hopefully we can make our win-loss record a lot better. The first game is against the Houston Rockets, and we do end up defeating them with our brand new team. Stephen Curry had a 32-point double-double, Jalen Duren in his Warriors debut drops 27 points, Butler 17, Richard 17, Moody 14, Herb Jones in his Warriors debut had 10 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 steal, 2 assists, shooting 4 of 8 from the field and 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. I believe with this new team we have, we're going to be unstoppable. Let's see how we do against the OKC Thunder, and we also defeat the defending NBA champions by nearly 30 points. Curry had another 27-point double-double, Butler had 22, and Jalen Duren had himself a 20 and 17 rebound game as well as 6 blocks. These first 3 games with the brand new roster have been absolutely amazing. We will be rolling with a 4-star overall system proficiency, perimeter-centric under Steve Kerr. We're stopped here at the trade deadline, and I'm attempting to move on from Herb Jones. As our starting shooting guard, he hasn't been all that good. He's only shooting 33% from the 3-point line. So we're going to try pulling off this trade here with the New York Knicks, where we send them Herb Jones, Moody, Trace Jackson for Mikal Bridges and Clarkson. Let's see what the New York Knicks say, and they do give us a counteroffer. Okay, they want to give us Mitchell Robinson in return for Al Horford, and I'm all for it. We just pulled off that trade, acquiring ourselves Mitchell Robinson, Jordan Clarkson, and Mikal Bridges on this team. Thank you for your 33 seconds here in Golden State, Jordan Clarkson, but we sadly need to trade you to get ourselves a backup wing, and I'm going to try pulling off this trade here with the Toronto Raptors where we send them Jordan Clarkson and DeAnthony Melton for Ojai Agbaji, and the Raptors accept the trade. Since we have below 14 players on this team, we currently need to sign a player that's a free agent, and let's see which players are free agents. So we have Ben Simmons, Malcolm Brogdon, and Malik Beasley, and it looks like they all want the minimum contract. I believe Malik Beasley would be the best fit on this team, so what I'm going to do is offer him a 2-year contract on a minimum and see if he accepts, which he does. I'm not sure if we're going to put him a part of our rotation as of right now, but we will see if we're going to do so later on, but at least we have ourselves a really good shooter on our bench. I did end up putting Malik Beasley into our rotation. He will be the 6th man coming off the bench. He's a really good 3-point shooter, and I believe he'll fit our system perfectly. At the end of this season, it's Nikola Jokic winning MVP, Cooper Flag Rookie of the Year, Tyler Hero 6th man, Victor Wembanyama Defensive Player, Bozelis Most Improved, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Clutch Player, Steve Kerr, our head coach, wins Coach of the Year, and we also win Executive of the Year. Let's see if we have any All-NBA selections. We do get Stephen Curry on All-NBA 3rd team, and will that be it? Yes, it will, so we don't end up with any more awards, but we did end this season being the number 1 seed, winning a total of 63 games and losing only 19. Our team this season was absolutely amazing. That means ever since we started recording this video, we've only lost a total of 10 games because the Warriors already had a record of 10 win and 9 losses prior. But let me show you guys the player stats before we jump into the playoffs. The leading scorer on our team was of course Stephen Curry, averaging 28 points per game, 21 from Butler, 17 from Duren, 17 from Bridges, and 12 from Malik Beasley. In the first round of the playoffs, we're taking on the Denver Nuggets, who have themselves Jamal Murray, Brown, Hardaway, Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. I'm not sure how this team ended up being a play-in team, but somehow they did, and game 1 we do end up losing. Butler had 33, Curry 29, Bridges 22, but sadly that was not enough. We do win game 2 here, and Curry had a double-double, so did Duren and Butler. Bridges had 21, Beasley with 20. Our offense in this game was amazing. We scored 147 points. Now the series is tied at 1-1 apiece. Let's see if we win this next game, and we do end up winning game 3 by over 30 points, where Curry dropped 38, Bridges had 27, Duren had a 22-point double-double, Butler had 11-point double-double. Can we go up 3-1? And yes, we can. Curry with 36, Duren with 25, Bridges with 24, and so far Duren's averaging a 20-point double-double here in the playoffs. And we gentlemen sweep the Denver Nuggets, defeating them by 33 points. Bridges led the way, dropping 26 points. Curry had a 25-point double-double. Butler was 17. And just like that, we're in the second round, where we're going to be taking on the Dallas Mavericks. They have themselves Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flag. A lot of Warriors fans, myself included, have been begging the Warriors to get themselves a true big man, and as you guys can see, since acquiring Jalen Duren on this team, we've been winning a boatload of games. Of course, there's a lot of other players we traded for as well, but I do believe Duren was a huge role in the reason we've won as many games as we did. So far here in the playoffs, Curry's averaging 32 points per game, Mikal Bridges is averaging 24, Butler's averaging 18, Draymond Green's averaging a triple-single, and Jalen Duren's averaging a 19-point double-double. Now let's see how we do against the Dallas Mavericks. Game number 1 will go to the Mavericks. Curry dropped 37 points, but sadly that was not enough. Game number 2 does end up going to us. Curry drops 39, 4, and 8. Jalen Duren had a 19-point double-double, and playoff Jimmy dropped 26. Can we win the next game? And yes, we will. Playoff Jimmy is going off. He dropped 30 points here. Curry had 23, and Bridges with 23 as well. Game number 4 will go to us, and we're up 3-1 against the Dallas Mavericks. Curry dropped 32 points, Bridges 27, Jimmy with 21, and Duren with a double-double. And we do end up gentlemen sweeping the Dallas Mavericks, holding them to below 100 points, where Curry dropped 24, Butler 24, and Beasley with 20. Just like that, we're in the conference finals. We're either going to be taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves or LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and the Lakers. And it will be the Minnesota Timberwolves, who still have themselves Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, McDaniels, Naz Reid, and DiVincenzo. Game 1 will go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Butler played amazing, so did Curry and Bridges, but we did end up losing in overtime by 5 points. And game 2 will go to us. Curry drops 31, Duren with 18, 17, as well as 6 stocks. That is insane defense. Game 3 also goes to us. Curry drops 30, Butler 20, 17 from Beasley. I totally forgot Butler and both Beasley have played on the Minnesota Timberwolves. We are up 2-1 against Minnesota, and now we're up 3-1. Let's go, and it's playoff Jimmy showing the Minnesota Timberwolves why they shouldn't have traded him. He dropped 41 points on their head. Curry with 23, Bridges with a 14-point double-double. And we gentlemen sweep the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Jimmy Butler wins Western Conference Finals MVP, averaging 25, 6, and 5.5, shooting 54% from the field. And Jalen Brunson wins Eastern Conference Finals MVP, which means we're taking on the New York Knicks. And that's pretty insane. We're taking on the New York Knicks. We pulled off a pretty big trade with in the regular season where we sent them Herb Jones and Al Horford. Let's see how Jones is doing. And of course, bro, shooting 50% from the field and 46% from the three-point line. But when he was on our team, he was shooting 33% from the three-point line. So this trade has helped out both teams. Both of us make it to the NBA Finals. They still have themselves Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, and Horford at the starting center position. And I totally forgot, we also gave them Moses Moody, who's coming off their bench. But let's see how things go. Game number 1 will go to the Knicks, and they held us to 99 points. Game 2, we end up winning where Curry dropped 35, 29 from Bridges, and 24 from Jimmy. We also win game 3 here. Curry dropped 24, Bridges with 22. Can we go up 3-1? Fingers crossed, and that is exactly what we do. Playoff Jimmy is out here to play. He dropped 35 points. Curry had 33. Duran with a double-double. All we have to do now is win one more game to win a championship. Let's jump into Simcast. We will have home court advantage for this game, and so far we do have the lead, and it looks like we will end up winning this game by 3 points, and Jalen Duran led the way with the 24-point double-double, Curry with 16, and Butler 18. And just like that, we've won Stephen Curry his 5th championship. Jimmy Butler wins Finals MVP, averaging 23 points per game. I will be running it back one more season to see if we can win ourselves a back-to-back championship, but let me show you guys the player stats before we do that. So we played a total of 20 games, and the leading scorer in those 20 games was Stephen Curry, averaging 28 points per game, 23 from Butler, and 21 from Bridges. And in the NBA Finals, we played 5 games, and the leading scorer once again was Stephen Curry with 24, and 23 from Butler, 21 from Mikal Bridges. Thankfully, Stephen Curry won't be retiring this offseason. If he did, that would be pretty bad. So at least now we have one last season to hopefully go out there and ring chase and win him his 6th championship to tie him up with Michael Jordan. So what I'm going to do with our 30th overall pick is I will go ahead and draft a player, and that's because most of these rookies have a very high trade value and that we could use as leverage. Let's see the top 3 picks in the 26 NBA draft. The first pick the Washington Wizards have, and they take Cameron Boozer. The Utah Jazz have the 2nd overall pick, and they take Darren Peterson. The Grizzlies 3rd overall pick, and they are going to be trading that away from the looks of things. They make a trade with the Utah Jazz, acquiring Lauri Markkanen. Now let's go ahead and sim to our pick and see who we could select here with the 30th overall pick. And this dude here is the highest overall. He's only 18 years old, but let me see which player has the highest potential. That means the player with the highest potential will have the highest trade value. Joel Smith has a ceiling of Andre Drummond All-Star, so we're going to go ahead and draft him with the 30th overall pick, and then of course we will either be trading him for a first rounder in the future or use him in the trade package we're going to be pulling off. For team player options, Jose Alvarado accepted his player option, and honestly I'm okay with that. I would like to keep him around on this team. He's a really good perimeter defender, plus he was shooting nearly 40% from the 3-point line. And then qualifying offers, I gave Ojai Abaji a qualifying offer and Jalen Duran. So we have a pretty big free agency signing to do this offseason, which is bringing back Jalen Duran. He wants about $19 million a year, so we're going to go ahead and extend him, give him a 4-year contract and see if he'll accept that. We also need to bring back Mitchell Robinson. That's something I did not know, but he only wants about $4 million, so we're going to go ahead and extend him for the next 2 seasons. And Abaji wants a minimum, so we'll go ahead and offer him that as well. And all 3 players will be accepting. Chris Middleton is a player that could be the backup power forward. He's a really good playmaker, pretty good defender, and a decent offensive player. So I'm going to offer him a 1-year contract, paying him about $4 million, and he will also be accepting that deal. Alright y'all, this is insane. I threw Jimmy Butler in Trade Finder to see what we could get back in return for him, and the Cleveland Cavaliers for some weird reason are offering us Evan Mobley, who's a 90 overall, for Jimmy Butler and Malik Beasley, and they'll also send us Sam Morril. There's no way we're passing up on this trade offer, plus Jimmy Butler will be regressing a ton this offseason, so might as well get something back in return for him. We're getting ourselves an all-star in Evan Mobley. And the trade I was talking about is we're going to try targeting Domantas Sabonis to bring him here on the Golden State Warriors. There have been a lot of rumors that he might get traded to the Warriors, so we're going to try and make that happen this offseason. For us to acquire Sabonis financially, we're going to have to include Draymond Green in the trade, and honestly I'm totally fine with that because Draymond Green regresses a ton here in this offseason. I believe he goes down to like a 77 or a 78 overall, so might as well trade him while we can. The player we're going to try trading him for is Sabonis. We're going to try sending the Sacramento Kings Draymond Green, Sam Morril, and Joel Smith for Sabonis, and they do decline, but let's start throwing in some first rounders. 1 first round pick does not get it done, neither does 2. What about 3 first rounders? And just like that, we've acquired Sabonis on the Golden State Warriors. We all know that Sabonis isn't the best defender. He is an elite offensive player, playmaker, rebounder, all of that, but thankfully we have Evan Mobley now that could pick up his slack on the defensive side. Evan Mobley is an amazing rim protector, the former defensive player of the year, so we no longer have to worry about defense. But after trading away Jimmy Butler, we no longer have a starting small forward, so we're going to have to pull off one last trade before we're ready to go out there and compete. I signed Brook Lopez here in free agency, that way we could trade him away for some first round picks that we can use in a trade, and we're going to be pulling off this trade here with the Pistons, sending them Brook Lopez for 2 future first round picks. Since we already have Sabonis on our team, we are able to trade away Jalen Duren, and this is the final trade I'm going to attempt to pull off for our team this offseason, and that's acquiring Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith from the Indiana Pacers. We're attempting to send them Jalen Duren and Jose Alvarado. And they do end up declining, so let's start throwing in some first rounders, and 1 first round pick gets it done, and now we have ourselves Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith. I'm going to be changing up some positions here, so what we're going to do is have Andrew Nembhard be the brand new starting shooting guard, and then we're going to have Mikal Bridges be the brand new starting small forward, and both of them jump up in overall after we did that. Here we are at the start of this season with our brand new 9-man rotation. The starting lineup will include Stephen Curry, Andrew Nembhard, Mikal Bridges, Evan Mobley, and Domantas Sabonis, and then off the bench we have Nesmith, Caldwell Pope, Robinson, and Will Richards. Let's go ahead and simulate the first few games of this season and see how we do. The first game is up against the New York Knicks, and we do end up defeating them by 2 points, where Curry dropped 29, Bridges with 24, Evan Mobley in his Warriors debut had 15 points and 18 rebounds as well as 5 blocks. Sabonis had 13, 9, and 5. The next game is against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who we also end up defeating, where we scored 159 points. Curry had 27, Mobley had 24, and Sabonis had a 22-point triple-double. This season we will be running with a 4.5-star overall system proficiency, perimeter-centric under Steve Kerr. And I definitely think we could win ourselves another championship. So far we've been playing really well. We did lose to the Clippers, but then we beat the OKC Thunder twice in a row. We scored 119 points here, where Mobley dropped a 19-point double-double. Sabonis had a 16-point double-double. In the second game, Mobley had 25, Sabonis with 23, 10, and 8. Curry had himself 20, Bridges 20 as well. I'm stopped here at the trade deadline, and currently we have been unstoppable. We haven't lost a game since December 12th. We're currently the number 1 seed with 48 wins and only 3 losses. So I won't be pulling off any trades, and I'll be seeing you guys at the end of this season. Okay, at the end of this season, our boy Evan Mobley ends up winning MVP, averaging 24 points per game, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.2 steals, and 2.5 blocks per game. I was not expecting him to be winning MVP because he wasn't averaging that many points per game, but we'll definitely take it. Cameron Boozer wins Rookie of the Year, DeJounte Murray 6th Man, Victor Wembanyama Defensive Player, Zachary Risache Most Improved, Luka Doncic wins Clutch Player, and Steve Kerr wins Coach of the Year. We also win Executive. And of course, the MVP makes it on All-NBA First Team. That was a pretty big surprise because honestly, he was the second leading scorer on our team, so I didn't see him winning MVP. But that's honestly awesome. And let's see if we have any more All-NBA selections. We do get Domantas Sabonis on All-NBA Third Team, but no Stephen Curry. We also got Evan Mobley on All Defensive First Team, and that will be it for awards. We did end this season being the number 1 seed, winning a total of 76 games and losing only 6. And before we start simulating the playoffs, let me show you guys the player stats for our team here in the regular season. So the leading scorer on this team was Stephen Curry, averaging 24 points per game. And that's the only reason why I thought Evan Mobley may not be winning MVP, because he wasn't averaging the most amount of points per game on our team. But he did end up winning his first ever MVP, which is absolutely amazing. Evan Mobley was averaging 24, 11, and 5, as well as 2.5 blocks per game. We had 20 points per game from Sabonis, 12.5 boards, 7 assists, 18 from Bridges, 11 from Nesmith, and 11 from Nembhard. In the first round of the playoffs, we're going to be taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they still have themselves Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Wallace, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and they have themselves Sorber at the starting center position, so that's a position they're definitely lacking in. Game number 1 will go to us, and Evan Mobley, the MVP, drops 30 points, has 3 stocks as well, Curry 27, and Sabonis with 23-point double-double. Game number 2 will also go to us, and it's the MVP, dropping 38 points and 20 rebounds. Sabonis has himself a 25-point triple-double. Game number 2, we do end up losing sadly by 1 single point. Mobley had 23 and 12, but we did fall short. And we do end up going up 3-1. Curry leads the way this time, dropping 27. Mobley had a 26-point double-double. Bridges had himself 17. Let's see how Nembhard's playing. He's playing good. Bridges isn't shooting as well from the 3-point line as he did in the regular season, but hopefully he can pick things up. And we do end up gentlemen sweeping the OKC Thunder. Curry dropped 25, the MVP with a 24-point double-double. And just like that, we're in the second round taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's see how the MVP is doing so far, and he's averaging 28 points per game, 14 rebounds, 3.5 assists, shooting 59% from the field. And Curry's averaging 23 points per game. Let's take a look at the Minnesota Timberwolves roster, and they still have themselves DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Naz Reid, so they do have the same starting lineup as the previous playoffs. Let's see if we can take them. Game number 1 will go to us, and it's Mobley dropping 24, Curry with 18, Sabonis with a 14-point double-double. Game number 2, we also end up winning. Mobley drops 32, 14, and 2. Sabonis has 1. He's 1 assist shy from a triple-double, 29 and 11. Curry has himself 22 points. Game 3, we do end up losing here. Whoa, Anthony Edwards just dropped 50 points on our head. Curry had 31, Mobley 25, but sadly that was not enough, and they do tie up the series. What I'm going to do is come up with a defensive coach game plan before we advance to the next game. Alrighty, I came up with a defensive coach game plan, also switched up some of our player shot tendencies. Let's see if that's going to help us win this next game. We will have home court advantage here. So far we do have the lead, but they are pushing back here in the second half, and let's see if we can win this. We're up by 10 in the fourth quarter, and we do end up winning by 11 points. Evan Mobley dropped 42 points. Curry had 24, and Sabonis had himself a triple-double. Curry isn't shooting as many shots as I would like for him to take. I'm not sure why. His shot tendency is all the way up to 99. I would like for him to be shooting a lot more than just that. We're in Simcast once again, and so far we do have the lead, and we do end up defeating the Minnesota Timberwolves by 3 points. And Curry led the way, dropping 24, Mobley a 20-point double-double, and Sabonis a 19-point double-double. Also, Nembhard has been struggling pretty bad here in the playoffs, so I did decide to push him to the bench unit, and we will be starting Aaron Nesmith at the starting shooting guard position. But now we're in the conference finals taking on the Dallas Mavericks. They still have themselves Kyrie Irving, Cooper Flagg, and Anthony Davis. Let's see how we do here. Game number 1 will go to us. Curry leads the way, dropping 27 points, Sabonis 26, and Mobley with 20. We also win game 2, we lose game 3. We win game 4, and can we gentlemen sweep them? No, we cannot. It looks like it will be going to a game 6. Let's jump into Simcast and see if we can defeat them here to advance to the NBA Finals. And so far, the Mavericks do have the lead, but we take it right back and end up winning this game by 12 points. And Mobley dropped 41 points here. Curry had himself 21, and so did Mikal Bridges. Evan Mobley wins Western Conference Finals MVP, averaging a 26-point double-double. And Zachary Risachet wins Eastern Conference Finals MVP for the Atlanta Hawks. And that means we're taking on the Atlanta Hawks here in the NBA Finals, and they no longer have themselves Trae Young. They have a 75 overall player as their starting point guard. They do have Dyson Daniels, Reece Shea, Johnson, and Kristaps Porzingis. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to us, and it's Mobley dropping 23. Sabonis has a 23-point, 20 rebound, 10 assists game. That is insane. 22 points from Curry. Game number 2 will also go to us, and it's Mobley leading the way with 40 points, 11 boards, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Curry had himself 38 points. And just like that, we're up 2-0. Let's see if we can continue this, and we do. We also win game 3. Mobley drops 29 points, Curry drops 26, Sabonis has 23. And are we going to be sweeping the Atlanta Hawks to win a back-to-back championship? Yes, we are. Just like that, the Golden State Warriors have won a back-to-back championship with Evan Mobley winning Finals MVP, averaging 32 points per game, 11.5 boards, 5 assists, and 3 stocks per game on crazy good efficiency. And before I end off this video, let me show you guys what the player stats were looking like in the playoffs, where we played a total of 21 games. The leading scorer was the MVP, Evan Mobley, averaging 28 points per game, 11 boards, and 4 assists. Then we had Curry averaging 25 points per game, 19 and 11, 19 and 12 from Sabonis, 17 from Mikal Bridges. The NBA Finals, here are the player stats. Curry was leading the way with 32 points per game, and I'm not sure why he didn't win Finals MVP, but it did end up going to Mobley. But yeah, Curry led the way, averaging 32.5 points per game, winning himself his 6th championship. 32 points from Evan Mobley, 21 from Sabonis, 16.5 from Bridges, and 10 from Andrew Nembhard. And that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. We did end up winning Stephen Curry 2 more championships before he retires, and now he's tied up with Michael Jordan with 6 championships. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Also subscribe if you're new for more NBA 2K26 videos. Click here on the screen to watch my latest upload. Until next time, it's your boy Dragon, and I'm out. Peace.